I'm Anupama Chopra and you're watching Perfect Strokes. On this episode, we're discussing thrillers and the art of creating suspense. Who better to guide us than Sriram Raghavan, the director of delicious twisted movies like Andhadhun, Badlapur and Johnny Gaddar. Sriram talks about the difference between suspense and surprise, fitting songs into the narrative and how to market a thriller in the age of social media. Here's the master.
See, I think the thriller is a very broad-based term. I mean, within the thriller, there are so many kinds of films you can do. If you look at even my own films, I mean, if Hasina was a revenge film, Badlapur was an anti-revenge sort of film. Agent Vinod was a spy thriller. Johnny Gaddar was a caper, heist kind of a movie, and Andhadhun is a completely, wacko. I can't define Andhadhun as a, this is the genre. But so I feel like the next time there is a story I'm doing, which is a kind of a, it's actually a love story, but there is a murder involved in that, but it's not a thriller in the sense of, 10 plot twists and so on. It's just one probably something. So I don't know. I feel each of these stories, there is something which you anticipate, something which keeps you, hooked onto the characters. I'm not really interested in, like I said, a happy ending or a Hitchcock defines suspense superbly. He said suspense versus surprise. It's an old story, but anyway, for those who haven't heard it, it's like he says, suppose there's a man sitting in a bus or in a chair and there's a bomb under his seat. Now, if the viewer knows there's a bomb under his seat, then the viewer is going to be tense. Oh my God, this guy should get up and go from there because it's ticking bomb below, just below where he's sitting. If he knows that, there is suspense, because you're just waiting for him to get out or the bomb to explode or something. There's a tension within you. If you didn't know there was a bomb, it's just going to be suddenly sitting and maybe having a cup of tea and suddenly boom. So that's a surprise, So I think suspense is, I'll tell you another example. There's a scene in an old Hitchcock film, Notorious. So there, her husband has gone to have a bath and she has to just take out one key from his key ring, And he's in the shower, so she manages to take it out. It's a little difficult. She takes out the key and he opens the door. And she's got the key in her hand, And now he comes to kiss her hands. And you're wondering, oh my God, this has got the key. So she gives the other hand first. He kisses his hand, then he opens the hand and kisses it. Now she has to, what's she going to do with the other hand which has got the key? The moment it's open, it's going to be exposed. So you are thinking what's she going to do exactly like how she's thinking what she's going to do. What she does is she embraces him and drops the key on the carpet, and kisses him and so on. So you have to find this is suspense, this is anticipation, It's not like the broader story is not important right here. It's just how you tell this. The most important ingredient I look for in a thriller is, I guess a unique story, something which has got its own X factor. Maybe a high concept like, Sixth Sense or Jewel Thief or stories like that, or something which is like, which makes me want to explore that and spend some time on it. My thing is there are too many films being made, too many thrillers I've watched, and so how do I surprise myself? How do I surprise the viewer and so on? Well, it's damn tough to make a promo for a thriller simply because you're just going to, you're just going to give away spoilers wherever, So we had a tough time in Andhadhun. Again, you have to be you have to probably make a script for the promo, I don't know whether there's any answer for this, but I'll give an example of Hitchcock's, again, Psycho I'm talking about, where the promo is basically Hitchcock taking you around that house, and he's showing you this is the old, where the old lady lives, and this is her bedroom, and oh, she was asleep here a few minutes back, and then this is the bathroom, and he opens the bathroom, and there's one shot of Janet Leigh screaming, and that's it, Psycho. So it's a 6-minute trailer, but you watch it because it's like Hitchcock, of course, an iconic chap. And so I have to find different ways of doing it. Even sometimes the film critics and reviewers, they give away half the story, And ideally, we'd like the viewer to come in absolutely blank and, just take it all in. I don't know. If your story is dependent on just one big reveal kind of thing, then it's dicey. Which is probably the reason why a whodunit doesn't really appeal to me, So, somebody can say, okay, so-and-so did it, and, on the bathroom of the... I remember I was watching a movie where in the interval somebody had written in the loo, in the gents loo, okay, so-and-so has done it. So I said, okay. So you know it. Of course, the idea is, to make a movie which is in spite of, suppose you know that this is going to happen, in spite of that, if it can be engaging, I think that's the trick. And it's not easy, but that's the way ahead, I think. I think there are too many people who are making films about good guys and good girls and so on. So I think the the bulk of us are not, completely good or completely bad. I think we all have a lot of grey in us, and at least, in our minds we have a lot of grey, and we have so I feel, I don't know, these stories sort of, I gravitate towards that. I'm more attracted to those things as compared to, happy endings and clean stories. When you choose a subject, you are prepared for the kind of impact it's going to have, the kind of tone you're going to choose, and so on. So, for example, I feel Badlapur was a dark film. In terms of when I read the original story, it was much darker than the film. There was absolutely no humor in it actually. It was just about two guys, and both were complicated people. And my worry was, most people initially were kind of were worried about the film. Why are you making this kind of thing? But somehow, when the story fascinates you, still go ahead. And I was kind of, while writing it, not that we intentionally put in anything funny or anything like that, but the character of Nawaz sort of got a life of his own, and plus the actor playing it and so on. It's sort of, it sort of balanced things. It's still a very dark story, but the kind of, it's little palatable, I guess, for people to watch. There are some stories which are, which are dark and should be told as dark. I remember my producer told me, Dinu told me while making Badlapur, ki don't dilute it. That's the main worry. Otherwise we tend to, okay, this is too dark, and so let's kind of temper it, make it little kind of softer to take, but then you lose both. You kind of fall between both stools. A certain kind of movie will attract a certain kind of audience. There may be stories which my mom may not want to watch simply because it's dealing with things which maybe make her uncomfortable, or maybe so many people. At Badlapur, I didn't want kids to watch, so I was actually hoping for an A certificate. And whereas my producer, even my actor, they were like, okay, let's dilute, let's cut this and make it a U certificate kind of a thing. So I don't know, I feel a certain story, you feel, okay, this is the kind of audience which will get it. So you try and make it, be true to that story and the spirit of that story. Well, I have actors, like for example, in my first film, Saif used to have a little worry sometimes, because he had just finished Dil Chahta Hai and that had come out. And so a couple of places, especially when he betrays Urmila, like in jail and sends her to a kind of a 7-year sentence. So he said, people are not going to like me for this. I said, of course not. People are supposed to dislike you or hate you and kind of thing. The actor can easily separate. Once he agrees to do the role, the actor, then more or less they are fine with it.
कहते हैं crab meat is an aphrodisiac. Spelling मत पूछना. मतलब चाहिए तो बता सकती हूँ.
Well, Tabu and I used to have a lot of kind of discussions about various things she's doing in the movie, and the good part is, even though we had a couple of, okay, would she do this, would she do that kind of thing. We have both found the overall movie as a tone was meant to be a little, don't take it too seriously, and it's a little funny kind of a thing, and so I know, like you can see her performance and she's fab in the movie. And I used to, actually while watching her, she used to not be sure, okay, is this right, am I getting the tone right? But for us, we are watching her do it and we were just like, super happy. But many actors have kind of have not done the movie for those reasons you say. They feel, okay, it's too dark or too, this guy is not a hero. Whenever I start a script, I think, I love songs personally. I love Hindi movie music very much. And but whenever I start a film, I say there is no songs in this, there's only going to be an OST. And somehow then, not because, okay, of course it's great to have a good song or something which will, reach out to people and all that. But of course, whilst writing it, somehow maybe because I love music and maybe subconsciously I know it's a good thing to have. And more important, because I like it. So I try my best to find insidious ways of getting it in, It may be sometimes an old song which is used, not as a remix or something, but as a source music kind of a thing. I'll give you an example. Badlapur, when we began, we had, I told them there's no chance for any song or anything, so kindly, let's not even get there, Let's just focus on a good BGM. But then, when Sachin Jigar gave me that first song, Chadariya Jini, that one, I loved the song. I said, where can we use it in the movie? We said, okay, let it be we'll make a video and so on. But then I had a sequence where, it just fit in perfectly when he's trying to commit suicide. And this way the song sort of came in, there was no lip sync bursting into song, which I'd love to one day do something like Oh Mere Raja, but I'm not yet had the guts or the situation to do that. I think it's possible to make a pure thriller with songs simply because, Vijayanand has done it quite a few times, and both Teesri Manzil and Jewel Thief are musicals as much as thrillers, and so we actually, I don't see there's any problem in that. It's just that some stories, you can't do it. Maybe like Ek Hasina Thi, somebody told me after release, one distributor, why don't you put a song in the jail, just to make it more relaxed. I said, are you mad? I mean, how can you put a song in the jail there? But then later when I'm thinking, okay, Bandhani has got great songs in the jail, and it's a drama, it's a love story and all that. So it's up to us to, like I said, use our, the song is an Indian art form, in the Hindi movie, which we should kind of celebrate. I do try to do it, but it's slowly it depends. It's not the same as it used to be in the 70s. There are too many thrillers I like which are my favorites, and let me talk about a few. So let's take Psycho, for example. Made in 1960, Hitchcock. we all must be knowing about the film if you have not seen it. And now the thing with Psycho is, the choice it takes, of I don't know, I'm giving away spoilers, so think about that. But I'm saying you bump off the main character in the, very early in the film, in about 40 minutes of the film. You're with this character all the time, and suddenly the director shifts your attention, and you start sympathizing with the killer, and you start wondering, how did this happen, because you as a viewer would not normally do this. So Psycho is a movie where it's full of cinematic lessons for all of us who want to make films. But one of the main things is that where the attention, your sympathies shift from Marion who's been murdered, to possibly the killer, the Norman Bates. So that is a very kind of a unique thing which Hitchcock pulls off, and most of his movies he does that, where he's kind of, the bulk of times, I feel like Hitchcock says that, I was not directing the film, I was directing the audience. I was playing them like an organ. So it's actually the audience that is being directed in these movies. Even then, I would say Andhadhun in a small way, you're directing the audience. I've got fantastic actors there with me. But the audience has to, you're making them think this, and then putting the carpet under their feet and so on. Well, Dressed to Kill is a kind of a, Hitchcock has influenced a whole lot of people, but Brian De Palma is one of those who takes him very seriously, and I love Brian De Palma. Brian De Palma basically is a stylist and a cinematic kind of a filmmaker, so Dressed to Kill, the sequence I love the most is a sequence in an art gallery where this girl, Angie Dickinson, is gone, and there's a man who's trying to pick her up. This whole sequence is like a dance where she's just sitting and watching a painting, and then she moves away, and the other man is sat there. It's about 7 to 8 minutes, and it's a whole seduction which is happening silently, just music going on. Scenes like these make me want to make movies like that. Other than Hitchcock, one of my favorite filmmakers is Billy Wilder. Double Indemnity is one of the, he's made all kinds of films. Billy Wilder's mostly made satires, comedies, dramas, and so on. But then he said, okay, let me make a thriller too. And Double Indemnity is one of those, which is a James Cain novel. And the script is written with Raymond Chandler. So it's got all big names attached to it. It's one of the early noirs, which actually was mainstream in Hollywood and did very well. And otherwise, noir was also always kept as a B film kind of thing. This was an A noir kind of a film. And again, a film which doesn't date, you can watch it now and get completely hooked to it.